Hey everyone, it's me. Welcome back to another episode of Most Amazing Top 10, where today we recounting down the top 10 scary VHS tapes that should unexist. From haunted to cursed, these are the scariest VHS tapes you should never watch alone at night. Let's get started. Starting off in our number 10 spot, we have the Russian sleep experiment. This video is said to be so messed up that it was actually banned in Russia before being leaked online. The video details a Russian experiment from 1967 where scientists kept people awake for 40 days and 40 nights with the goal of discovering what would happen. And all footage captured during this experiment was recorded by hidden cameras. According to reports, several of the test subjects went insane. One subject began eating the flesh of another subject who had fallen asleep. In fact, he even licked the sleeping person's face and eyes. So after watching this, if you can't sleep, don't blame us. In our No. 9 spot today, we have a creepypasta titled The Most Cursed Videotape in the World. If you're not familiar, creepypastas are online horror stories. And this one in particular is about a man who received a package in the mail. It was a box labeled Do Not Open until October 2011, so of course, curiosity got the better of him, and he opened it early only to find a VHS tape inside. He watched it anyways, and it turned out to be a recording of a home invasion gone wrong. The grainy black and white footage showed two men breaking into a house and killing the family that lived there. What makes this story terrifying, though, is that the man who sent it claimed that the events he depicted in the tape were actually his own. It gets more sinister, too, because after the home invasion portion of the tape ended, it was followed by a strange message that read, "If you receive this tape, then your family will be next," signed by the name of the killer. Disturbing stuff. In our No. 8 spot today, we have Tobe Hooper's The Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, as you might know. This film is the sequel to the legendary slasher film, The Texas Chainsaw Massacre. But what many people do and know is that there was an even more brutal cut of the sequel that was thought to be lost forever. It was directed by Tobe Hooper, the director of the original film, and featured a scene that was so violent it actually caused the MPAA to confiscate the negative, meaning it couldn't be shown anywhere ever. This version of the film was later dubbed the director's cut and features Leatherface, the main character from the previous film, going on a rampage and killing everyone in his path. In 2017, though, the cut was finally released to the public. And now, if you have a working VHS player, you can purchase a copy of this legendary movie on VHS. You've been warned. In our number 7 spot today, we have Ernest Scared Stupid. We all know the Ernest movies were silly and weren't meant to be taken seriously, but this one takes the cake when it comes to bizarre premises. Ernest Scared Stupid follows Ernest P. Worrell as he plays the role of a camp counselor at a summer camp for the mentally handicapped. His job is to teach them how to cope with their everyday lives. However, things take a turn for the worse when a local legend comes to life. Apparently there's a creature called a spook that haunts these woods and steals the souls of camp counselors. And while Ernest has to do whatever he can to protect his young campers from its wrath. It's silly, sure, but the fact that this movie was made by the same guy who made Child S-Play gives this movie a bit of a creepy undertone. In our No. 6 spot today, we have a VHS tape that contains a movie known as Satan's Little Helper. It's an absolutely crazy movie that tells the story of a boy named Robbie. Robbie's mother passes away, which leaves him and his father grieving. But Robbie just doesn't seem to be able to move on, so his dad buys him a sex doll to help him through his grief. However, this sex doll turns out to be possessed by the devil, and she slowly begins to turn Robbie's dad against him, until he decides to kill his own son. So yeah, this movie's pretty disturbing, but there's more to the story. See, the reason this movie is so scary is because the creators claimed that it was based on a true story. They even went as far as to say that the film was based on an exorcism that took place in Brazil. Although no evidence of such an event could ever be found. So is this movie real or fiction? That's for you to decide after watching. In our No. 5 spot today, we have Cannibal Holocaust. This film is notorious for its graphic violence and shocking imagery. It tells the story of a film crew who ventured deep into the Amazon rainforest to document the activities of a tribe of cannibals. But they soon find themselves hunted by the very people they're trying to film. This movie goes way too far, though. The film crew starts killing each other off one by one, and the movie includes actual footage of animal cruelty, torture, cannibalism, dismemberment, and murder. And while some of the footage is fake, much of it is real, which makes this movie extremely disturbing. Now, since the movie's release, many people have come forward claiming that the movie isn't just real, but that it's actually on the exploitation of indigenous people. In our know. For spot today, we have a set of tapes that contain what's known as the Al Gore horror show. These tapes were found in the attic of a woman after her grandmother passed away. She said the tapes had the power to put anyone who watched them into a coma. And while that sounds ridiculous, the story behind them is actually pretty dark. I'll see. The tapes contain footage of a series of mysterious experiments performed by the CIA during the Cold War, and they allegedly showed brainwashing techniques used on unsuspecting test subjects. While the contents of these tapes remain unknown, the mere fact that something like this could have happened during the Cold War era is enough to make us shiver. In our know, 3 spot today, we have an episode of Twilight Zone called Nightmare at 20,000 Feet. This episode first aired in 1963 and contained one of the most iconic scenes in TV history. It stars William Shatner as a man who boards a plane with a few others and takes a seat beside a window. He soon notices that the wing of the plane is covered in snow, but as the story progresses, he realizes that it's actually infested with hundreds of gremlins. Now obviously he tries to alert the others and the pilot, but they don't believe him. And this leads to a pretty unsettling ending. The episode is really creepy, but if you want to watch it, you'll need to get yourself a copy on VHS. Yeah, it was never released on DVD, so if you want to see it, you'll need to get a VCR too. In our know. 2 spot today, we have a movie known as The Last Broadcast. This found footage horror movie was filmed entirely on VHS and was released in 1998. The movie follows a group of friends who are filming a documentary about local legends and urban exploration. However, while filming in an abandoned mental hospital, they unwittingly open a portal to hell. And this brings an ancient demon named Abaton into their world. So, it preys on the group, causing them to panic and run through the woods. The footage is incredibly realistic, making it all the more scary. And if you haven't seen it already, there is a good chance that you won't and be able to find a copy anytime soon, because it has never been officially released on DVD. In our know, 1 spot today, we have The Haunting of Hill House. This movie is based on Shirley Jackson's novel of the same name and was first released in 1963. It tells the story of a group of paranormal investigators who explore a house said to be one of the most haunted places in America. As they spend the night in the house, they experience a series of terrifying events that leave them questioning their sanity. The movie is extremely creepy and is widely considered to be one of the greatest horror films ever made. But you may be wondering why it's on this list. Well, the reason is that this movie was also never released on DVD, so if you want to watch it, you'll need to get yourself a copy on VHS. And don't forget the popcorn. Thanks so much for watching. That was 10 scary VHS tapes that shouldn't exist. Which of these would you dare watch alone in a dark room? Let me know in the comments section below. And while you're there, hit that subscribe button. I've been your host, and we'll see you next time on Most Amazing Top 10.